Welcome back to Let's Know Buffalo. Joe Sorrentino, my co-host, and our guest today is Kate Glaser from Hope Rises. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome.
Very grateful.
I'm also, listen, we go back a little bit. I am not surprised at all by your success and everything that you're able to do. Why don't you talk a little bit about Hope Rises and what you've got going on right now?
Gosh, we have so much going on. It's hard to even keep up with every day. I feel like every day there's something new going on, whether it's brand deals, partnerships, nonprofit givebacks. There's just so much going on. But I think it's a testament to the community embracing Hope Rises in such a big way. And we're so grateful. Hope Rises was simply a blog that started back in 2017 as a good news blog. I felt like there was a lot of good things happening in Western New York, and to be able to tell that story was something very important to me. But not just Western New York, really all across the globe. That's what Hope Rises is. We're not just limited to Western New York. We tell stories from all over the country, all over the world, and we hope to bring awareness to these amazing stories and also to give back. So the one thing that sets us apart from other good news platforms is we also make good news happen. So We've been able to raise over $600,000. We give all of that money back to Western New York through various projects and nonprofit organizations. And it's been incredible to see how it's grown. We are about 1 million followers across our platforms.
Wow. And so you haven't been doing that long, right?
Well, since 2017, so about 5, 6
That's
years.
Still very,
yes,
for a company, right?
Yeah. And for so long, it was really me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
So to be able to grow that much, that exponentially with just kind of me working on it, it's amazing, but it's also very tiring. So I've been able to really have a group of volunteers come under me, a board come under me, and just people that want to get around the Hope Rises mission. And that's been really incredible to see how many people believe in Hope Rises and want to support our brand.
Well, and that's what I love about Buffalo and Western New York, right? Like what you're doing and how you're doing it. But then on top of it, like you said, it's not just here locally. I mean, did I see you on like the Today Show? Like your stories?
Yeah, we do. We do stories with the Today Show. They've reached out to us. We have CNN that follows us and kind of reaches out when they see good stories going on. It really brings exposure to Western New York. We've been able to expose, different people doing good things in Western New York on CNN, on the Today Show. Women's Day magazine had a huge spread on Hope Rises. It was like a 10-page spread. And in that spread, there were 4 heroes here locally who were featured. So it really shines a spotlight on Western New York, the city of good neighbors, and how there's so many good things going on. It's amazing.
The inception of this, though, you have a background in journalism before this. So how did it begin that you wanted to focus on good news, which is kind of the opposite of traditional journalism sometimes, right?
Well, because that usually doesn't sell, right? That doesn't click.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That people aren't clicking on the good news stories as much. So how did that idea form in your brain to say, this is what I'm going to do?
The phrase is in news, if it bleeds, it leads. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that. So basically like fires and crimes and murders are always the top of the newscast, right? For so long, I was that morning breaking news reporter. I would be sent out when there was an overnight fire, or I'd be sent out when there was a murder in the city. And it was really devastating to report on that. And I kind of got immune to it. It was almost like, oh, it's just another story. It's just another crime. It's just another fire.
I think you have to, right?
Yes. It's almost like that first responder mentality when these first responders go in and they see all these things every single day. There's something different going on, tragedy striking. Same with reporters. I don't think people think about the PTSD when it comes to reporters and what they experience, what they see. We've shown up to scenes where there's still people lying on the ground after an incident, right? So I saw a lot when I was a reporter. I was also very young. I started reporting when I was 21. So I don't think my head could even wrap around what I was experiencing. So I got out of the news business because it was very stressful. It was it was a hard job. It was very every day I was walking in, I didn't know what I was going to walk into. So I actually went over to Make-A-Wish and I started working for this incredible foundation that grants wishes for kids who are sick. When I was younger, my sister actually fought pediatric cancer. She was able to survive her the cancer that it was actually a Wilms tumor, kidney cancer. So she was a survivor, but through Make-A-Wish, I was able to meet so many families that unfortunately maybe lost their children or were going through these really rough battles. So I felt like good news was needed more than ever in our community, but not just our community, but all across our world. So I started, Hope Rises during my time working at Make-A-Wish and Mercy Flight. I was also there as their PR director. And I just felt like it was needed. And like I said, it wasn't just telling good news. We were also making good news happen. So we became a nonprofit through all of this. And now we are giving back. We just reached over 600,000 raised, and we keep all the money local. And it all goes back. We don't have anyone salaried on the nonprofit end of things. So
I think
we
that's
are all
important to
volunteers.
know, right? Like that's, some of these larger charities, and I won't mention any names, like, I think the first thing that a lot of local people ask, local companies, when they're donating, hey, is the money staying here or does it go right outside of the community?
Yes. Yeah. All money stays local. We are all volunteers that are very committed to giving back. So really, if you're giving to Hope Rises, it's all going right back out into the community. There's no one being paid. There's no salaries that have to be made. So we've been able to do so many incredible things throughout these past couple of years, whether it's helping a woman have her last Christmas wish, which was one of those memories that just always stays in my head this time of year, or it's helping toddlers receive wheelchairs. We were able to supply 50 wheelchairs for toddlers in need. There's so much that we've done. First responders, pediatric cancer, animals in need. There's just so much that we've been able to do. And that's
incredible.
It's amazing. It really makes my heart happy.
So you started this, you were working full time.
Yes.
So tell me how that transition was. Like, was there that like, hey, I think I should be doing this full time, or what made you say I'm going to leave my full time paying job?
Yeah.
And take this to the next level?
It was a little crazy, to be honest, because
you
I'm
have
a mom.
you have a family.
Yeah.
You have
mom of 3 kids. Yep.
Yeah.
And you have to think about, you're responsible for these 3 young little lives, and you're like, how do I make this work? And so COVID really honestly helped me wrap my brain around leaving a full-time job. I think during COVID, we all learned how we can operate on so many different projects,
Right.
and you don't necessarily have to be in an office to make a good living,
I think
right?
we are going to hear a lot of those stories of things that changed people's lives through COVID, right?
Yes.
The way they lived, the way they function, the way they think about things, and just in general, like life, right? Like I feel like the world is so different pre and post.
100%.
But what everybody or people went through during that, both personally and professionally, how their paths changed. And in 10 or 15 years, and part of my story was 9/11, right? Like when that happened, I was very young and I looked at what I was doing in life and I was like, this is not it, right? This is not going to be what I'm going, and that changed my trajectory.
Yeah.
And I think COVID's going to have the same effect for a lot of people like you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100% with you, Kev. I think that, I was taking a look at where I was spending my time. And in an office, I mean, you can do so much, right? Working for an organization or working for a company. But when you feel like you're outgrowing that sort of opportunity, and that's how I felt. I was at Make-A-Wish at the time, and I felt like I was kind of hitting my glass ceiling. Like, what else can I do? And knowing how much Hope Rises was taking off, we went from overnight 3,000 followers on our Instagram to 300,000 followers based off of one story that went viral. And just knowing how many people were kind of tuning in and wanting to embrace the brand, I knew it was my perfect time to kind of step away from my full-time job. And I was also doing a lot of side projects. So I was doing projects for Duville and different clients that wanted to have me kind of more available to them. So I thought, well, I have a really good sense of marketing. I have a great sense of storytelling, great sense of PR. Why not start my own brand, my own sort of business, and also do Hope Rises full time? So it was kind of one of those things. I took a big leap of faith. I didn't really have a total plan. I had a client who believed in me, who promised me a year worth of like monthly contracts. So that kind of kept
That's a nice
me,
little cushion, right?
that sort of started.
So you mean you didn't have a business plan drawn
I did not,
out?
of course
and
not. Do I ever have a business plan? No.
The
I am
greatest
one of those.
businesses, I feel like, were started without a business plan,
You
like
just
on the back of
kinda-
a napkin, or
Yep.
just like, hey, this is what I think. I'm gonna go do it, and I'm gonna put it out there and just see
Yeah.
what happens, right?
Yeah, and I'm still learning. I'm only 2 years into my marketing business, so I'm still, kind of learning how to deal with clients. And now we're at like 8 clients that I work at one time, which seems like a lot, but I hope to grow that even more and kind of build a team around me and just make sure that we can service the community in the best way possible.
Everyone we've talked to so far, it seems like that is the most common thing. People don't wake up and like, right, I'm going to write out this business plan, this is what I'm going to pursue. It's an opportunity came up and they said, well, I'm just going to try this and run with it. So it's very parallel to so many success stories.
Yeah, and when you have your heart in something, I think that makes even more of a difference.
100%.
So if your heart believes in what you're doing, you're going to make it work. It takes a lot of time. I think people get very lazy with this lazy mentality that, well, it's not coming to me, so it's not working. Well, you have to go to it and you have to put all the time and effort into it. I work sometimes 12, 13-hour days, which seems like a lot and it's kind of seems unbelievable, but I'm always plugged into my phone, always working. But I've noticed that I'm kind of starting to get over that hump where I can start to trust other people to then carry out the work.
And that's
but
always
for a long
hard,
time.
especially when it's your baby, right?
Yes.
Like, and I think that if anybody's listening to this, they own their own business. They had that point, right, where they had no choice but to relinquish some control, or, and not be so meddling into every piece of it, because you cannot grow any business without the people.
And I think I'm still learning how to do that. I'm
Sure.
still very my business is very infancy phase right now. So I'm still trying to see how that goes. But it's been amazing to see how my clients have accepted that, I'm doing the best I can and we're getting a lot of really great things done. And it all kind of like falls into each other. So I have marketing clients, but a lot of my clients believe in the power of nonprofit. They believe in the power of giving back. So then they utilize my give back brand as a way to then kind of come together and partner. So it's not just helping them with PR and marketing. It's also kind of like, how can we help the community as well? Because I feel like companies, even the bigger companies that we're now working with, their employees are craving charity give backs. Their employees want to feel engaged in the community. So it all kind of comes together, and it's just amazing to see how I didn't intend for that to happen, but it just kind of happens organically.
I think that for all the negativity that gets put on the younger generation coming up from, maybe us, now we're a little bit older. I'm in my 40s now, right? Yeah. You hear it like, oh, nobody wants to work. Everybody wants to be a TikTok star, blah, blah, blah. One of the things that I've heard from some of my friends who own companies is how much their employees value the workspace, the giving back and being part of the community, which I think is incredible.
Yes,
right?
100%. It's like a pillar of every big company to want to give back. How do they give back in a meaningful way? And that's where they really latch on to Hope Rises. And how can we partner with you to support your efforts? Because you're supporting so many different causes, not just one specific, audience.
How does that work with Hope Rises? Because you're doing so many different things.
I know.
Like
I know. It's a little confusing. Sometimes people are like, well, what do you focus on? Our focus is to provide hope where hope is needed. So that can be, for instance, thinking of the blizzard coming up on our 1-year anniversary of the Buffalo Blizzard and how that hit our community. We organized a snowplow mafia to come out and shovel neighbors.
That's really cool.
So that was something where we had 200 volunteers show up the next day. We put this out to our community of all these followers. And the next day we had close to 200 volunteers come out with shovels, and some plow trucks came out and they shoveled the East Side neighbors out of their homes, right? To be able to then go to Tops or get their medicine or whatever was needed. That's a very quick sort of way of how we rally the troops. Coming up this next week, which I don't know when this podcast will air, but this next week there's a little boy getting adopted. So his mom had reached out to us and she said, his new mom reached out out to us, and she said, can you maybe come together and do something for him? So we bought him his burgundy suit that he wants to get adopted in. He's only 6. And we're going to get a cheering crowd out to the church where he's going to have his adoption party. So these are the kind of things that it's like, everyone needs some hope. So we show up for that. Like I said, we've been able to raise over $300,000 for pediatric cancer. So one of our big campaigns is Shine Gold, and it's something that we're very passionate about because of our experiences seeing some of these warriors fight their battles. There's just so many things we've been able to do, and we kind of just let the requests come in. We assess them. We have a board that goes over what we can actually do because we get inundated with requests, right?
Sure.
There's people coming in every day. Can you support this GoFundMe? Can you do this? Can you do this? And we can't do everything.
Right.
There's no way, but we assess what we can do and we put our best effort into making that happen. So every single month we have a different theme. So this month we were able to adopt over 150 kids for Christmas. We provided them with a full Christmas. So that is in theme with our holiday give back, right? Last month we helped with Mafia Meals, where we got the Bills Mafia to rally around giving Thanksgiving dinners to the food bank. The month before that, we helped with a service dog for Western New York Heroes. We provided a service dog sponsorship for their Positive for Heroes program to help a local veteran. So every single month there's a different theme, but random things come up that we get requests on, and we're like, we have to help. How do we not provide a burgundy suit for this little
Sure.
6-year-old who wants to get
I
adopted
think
in a
that's got to
burgundy
be
suit?
exciting because I would assume that every day you wake up, you just don't know what that day is going to bring sometimes,
We
right?
don't. And when tragedy strikes, we respond, just like the blizzard or when the top shooting happened. And how do we respond to that? How do we get more involved? And it was something that was actually, it made me take a hard look at myself and knowing that I wasn't helping the East Side community at that point. We had requests to help the East Side, and always said, let's get to it. Let's do something. But we never did get to it. So from that, right after that happened, we actually partnered with an organization called Every Bottom Covered. And we now do a diaper drive annually with Highmark, Delta Sonic, and a couple other partners. And we provide diapers for the East Side families who are in need of diapers and other essentials for their babies. But it kind of makes you take a hard look at yourself and you say, why didn't I do more? How can I get more involved?
Sure.
So we're really trying to diversify our giving to make sure that we're reaching all audiences.
What's really cool about everything you're talking about, it seems like it's really more than a charitable organization. It's a community.
100%.
So you're able to solve so many different problems. And you're already mentioning some other charitable organizations that you'll partner with if that's part of that particular mission.
Yeah.
So there's just like no end in like the possibilities of what you guys can do.
And sometimes the biggest need that people have, it's not dollars, it's awareness. So for these organizations that like Every Bottom Covered, maybe you don't know about them, but because we told their story to Highmark and Delta Sonic, now Highmark supports them. So it's almost like you're the conduit of kindness that is bringing people together and just having them get involved in these organizations that are boots on the ground. We're not boots on the ground, they are, but we're allowing them to have their name elevated. And that's so important to Hope Rises.
So when let's rewind back
Sure.
to you're doing this part-time, you're grinding behind the scenes, you've got your full-time job, and then you put out that post that took you from 3,000 followers to 300,000. You said overnight?
Overnight.
What's that
Literally
like?
overnight.
Overnight.
Waking up to that, and
It was funny. I was
like,
actually in the Adirondacks, so I was out of service. So it was really cool because we
you
were
get back in service, and your phone is just
yeah, it really was amazing. It was actually a story we had told a couple times. It was about a little girl who was fighting cancer, and her mom and myself got very close. So we would tell her story all the time. She was just one of those little girls that I just gravitated to, and we would always tell her story. And there was just one video that just went viral, and actually Alec Baldwin of all people shared it, and that's how it kind of, I think, probably took off. Was he has this monster platform, Alec
Right.
Baldwin. So when he shared it, a lot of other celebrities kind of like latched onto it, and it really truly brought us from 3,000 followers. We were at that level for like 2 years and I couldn't grow past that. And people get very frustrated. They're like, why isn't this growing faster? Why is this not taking off? And it's been years like this. And I always tell people, be consistent and be true to your brand, because eventually something will happen that if it's meant to be, it'll grow, right? So it was incredible to see how much came from that. And then we had, producers from the Today Show kind of start to follow our stories, and different people that can help us kind of expand our growth. That's when we got the offer for Women's Day magazine to then do a spread on us. So a couple months later, we had Women's Day magazine reach out. Can we do this full page spread on you guys? Have you be the cover model for it? So it really, I can't even begin to explain what that meant, but I know that her mom is so grateful, because unfortunately that little girl passed away not long after that post went viral, but we still tell her story.
Right.
And to that mom, that means everything, right?
Yeah.
So we've just had so many great opportunities. We have a lot of celebrities that follow our platform now and engage with us, and it's just cool.
Well, with that overnight jump in followers, I'm sure then came a new wave of demand for your business, right? So how did you deal with that? Because was it something that really overnight the demand for what people needed from you?
Yeah, I think so. I think just being relevant, because if you have that many eyeballs on your platform, you have to be consistent, relevant, never taking a day off, never, never. You always have to have content being pushed out, right? So I think it was just kind of a struggle on myself to be able to make sure that I was being relevant, staying true to my brand, but also just being consistent. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of pressure.
Said,
it still is a lot of pressure.
At that time?
I did feel overwhelmed. I always feel overwhelmed. You ask me every single day, how do I keep up with it? Sometimes I don't even know how I keep up with it. But like I said, I've been able to rally a lot of different people around us to really help us with that storytelling. I have, volunteer writers, people that want to, be featured on Hope Rises, but also grow through the Hope Rises network.
Will you remember us little people when you're rich and famous?
Oh, stop. That's like, to me, it's such an awkward thing, because I don't even care
It's not
about
why you're doing it.
I know. I like
that
this
sort
too.
of thing.
But I think at the end of the day, it's the brand that you continue to grow and build, not only in Western New York, but it's going to be nationwide. And I think it already is, right? And it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah, I would say it's like worldwide.
Yeah,
I would say a lot of our fans come from all different countries.
I mean, from social media to TV, I see you on TV all the time, which is a testament to what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're getting people's attention and getting your story out there and getting your brand out there, and it's going to continue to grow. And it's super cool to see where you've come from, because I followed your path and I've known you for a while. It's super impressive. And especially doing that with a growing family and twins, and right? Like,
my kids, hopefully it's funny. My little girl, like, I always wonder, I take them on a lot of different things. I go and I take them to these like give back projects, or sometimes they go to News 4 with me and they kind of sit there and watch. And I never know like what their little minds are thinking, but my daughter, I think she's going to become a very successful entrepreneur. She wants to eventually take over Hope Rises. And it's funny that that's her plan, is to take over Hope Rises. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that looks like, but it's just cute to see how even, I feel guilty because I'm a mom and I'm trying to grow a brand and I'm constantly working, and I'm like, how is this affecting them? But I feel like they have an understanding for giving back and community and the power of working hard to then achieve something. So I think it does impact them in a very positive way.
well, I think that you're showing them, right? Like, how to be an entrepreneur, how to give back to the community. And not only that, just really, you can do whatever you want, right? Like, whatever you put your mind to. And, if she wants to be the successor to Hope Rises, well, she's going to be.
Sure. Absolutely. So it's been just incredible. And I'm grateful that people believe in the mission. I never expected this to happen. I just kind of started it as a way to promote goodness, and never imagined that 5 years later we'd be sitting here talking about this. But that's just how life goes. I think when you put goodness into the world, goodness comes back out.
I think a lot of, you mentioned, sometimes the guilt that you feel as a parent when you're running a business and the time that it takes. I think especially women, all parents, but mothers especially, sometimes they hold themselves back from really growing their business the way they should because of that guilt. How do you deal with that specifically? Do you have any techniques or anything that you just keep on? Because like, I feel like with your brand, you're doing good. You're not even doing this for yourself as much
Yeah.
as for other people. Does that always stay at the forefront for you?
Yeah, I think it does stay in the forefront. And no matter what, I would be working. So if I'm working, this actually allows me a lot of flexibility, which is really great because I'm not working that 9 to 5 office job. Yes, I'm working many more hours, to be honest, but I'm working from home. I can work from a different state if I wanted to. I think having flexibility as a woman in business when you have young kids is very important. And I'm actually very grateful that I have the opportunity to be on the go and not be limited to just sitting in an office all day, waiting for that 5 o'clock to hit and then going home and preparing dinner and doing that routine. It's really great to see how I've been able to kind of switch that up a little bit. So that's been helpful for sure. Absolutely.
How does somebody get involved with Hope Rises?
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways. If you want to volunteer, we're always looking for volunteers. We do a lot of, like I said, give back, sort of experiences. We are now having a lot of bigger companies fundraise for us. So this Christmas season, we had Hofbrauhaus. I'm sure you guys know of Hofbrauhaus in Buffalo. They picked Hope Rises as their charity for the Christmas markets. So we had volunteers every weekend, with selling cookies and doing different things to sort of help us. So any money that we raise from these different, fundraisers, we just push right back out into the community. So if you would like to or volunteer, we are always looking for volunteers. The simplest way that people can support is just follow us on social media, engage, let us know if we can ever help your organization or your family, depending on the scenario. We do try to help not just organizations, but also families and individuals as well.
How does like the story you told about the boy with the burgundy suit, like how does a cause get brought to you guys to discuss?
Typically right into our social media channels, sort of messages, or I get personal sort of requests because
coming
people
from
know.
all angles then.
Yes. So the organization that is working with this little boy is called Every Child. They help foster care families. They're an incredible organization helping pull together a lot of families that are going through the foster care process because it's not an easy process to go through. So they're really that amazing organization. So they reached out to me and they said, can you help this mother? She's a single mom adopting this beautiful boy who has had a really rough past. And, a simple request for a burgundy suit, that was easy for us to say yes. But then let's take it a step further. So we're providing a limo for him to go to the courthouse in his burgundy suit with a candy bar inside. And then when he gets to the church, we want to have a red carpet with like a bunch of cheerleaders. That's how we sort of take advantage.
That's
I don't want to say take advantage, but that's how we come in and we say, what more can we do to make this special? So let's do a limo. Let's do this cheering crowd for this little boy because it's a day he's been waiting for so long with his mom. And let's make it special. Let's make it filled with a ton of hope for him. So that's the power of Hope Rises. Mm-hmm.
I need to do more with my life.
Yeah.
Well, you do a lot, Kev. You are working hard, and you volunteer for Make-A-Wish and the Bison. You are doing a lot.
So beyond this Christmas season, you've already talked about some of the things that Hope Rises is doing. What's the future look like for you guys? Like, what's your goals for 2024, and maybe 5 years from now? Where do you see this thing going?
I mean, I would like for it to just continue growing. I told my husband when we hit 1 million followers on Instagram, I want a trip to Paris.
Nice.
I feel like I deserve that. Just joking, but not.
Hint, hint. Are you watching this? Are you
watching
listening?
this? We've never been to Europe, so I feel like that's necessary. No, but where I see this growing is just continuing to help people, continuing to raise more money. It would be so great to even hit $1 million raised for Western New York. So we are just going to continue to do that and inspire people. And I hope to grow my business. I hope to grow that marketing end of things where I'm working with amazing clients. I just signed an incredible client last week that I can't say who it is, but it's a really well-known client, and just really excited to get more involved in these bigger companies that are looking for storytelling opportunities and just good PR.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I think you should continue to celebrate those milestones, right?
Yeah.
Like you talk about a million followers
Yeah.
and $1 million raised. I think that's super important because
And it's like not about the followers per se. Like I
No,
know it
but
kind
that's
of almost sounds like you're bragging in a way, but
it's
to me, it's
when
like
you're
the
doing
more-
what you're doing, that's your ammunition.
The
Those
more
are
followers-
That's your reach.
100%.
yes,
It's
the
not
more
bragging at
followers,
all.
the more ways that we can help
Yeah,
others.
all right. We're not
Yeah.
talking about a TikTok or
Yeah.
Instagram star that did a stupid dance that got
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
million
We're
followers.
not talking about how
right?
many likes Kevin gets for his Lamborghini.
I do support though. I do like it. I still have not had a ride in that Lamborghini, even though I've asked you. So I'm gonna put it on record that you owe
It
me
has
a
to happen,
ride.
In the spring, I'm all about
It's
it.
kind of
Okay.
scary. I was.
You're working
I
all
was
the
scared.
time.
You can easily come and grab me for 5 minutes.
All right.
In your
That's a deal.
Lamborghini.
You need to buckle up. It's crazy.
okay.
It's not crazy. Take it easy.
Do you
all right?
allow Jesse to have any food or drink in your Lamborghini?
No.
No
a
coffee
hard
in
no.
case you take off and you spill.
It's so funny because she was like, "Oh, I'm going to take it to work. I'm going to take it to work." I'm like, and I'm standing next to her car, and I look at her car. We're in the driveway, and the rim is so curb rashed, and I just pointed to that, and I said, "This is the reason." Right, like right there.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Cannot. It's so funny.
But just, I think you probably know this. Like at 5 years now, most businesses, because that's what it is, right? They fail. They don't even make it to this point. So
Yeah.
that is incredible. And the fact that you're growing, celebrate those milestones, and I hope that you do. You're making an incredible impact on people's lives, and it's super impressive. Like I said, I've watched you come up. Did you think that you were going to be an entrepreneur at any point in your life? Did
never
you
wanted
ever
to.
have those?
I still to this day don't even know how to be an entrepreneur. Like invoicing to me was something I'd never done before. Like, kind of knowing how to go through that process, or just saving all your receipts and getting them into your accountant. Like that was all things that I had to learn
I
on
am
the
terrible
fly.
at that stuff,
Ugh,
and that
I hate
is
it so much.
to me. That's not what an entrepreneur is.
It's like a
That's what
different
you
side of your
hire
brain.
somebody
I
to
know.
do that stuff
See,
eventually.
and we're still in that process where we're still kind of the very small
Yep.
infancy stage
Yep.
where we're still doing all of that. We're trying to build a team around us. But no, I never imagined
I
being an
continue to push
entrepreneur.
that stuff to the point where once I just recently hired a bookkeeper for my real estate business, and
Yeah.
I had one for previous businesses, and she's looking at me. She's like, I'm literally handing her a cardboard box of receipts,
yeah.
with the 2021 labeled on it, and she's like, "All right, well, where's all the digital stuff?" I'm like, "Oh no, this is." Good
This
luck
is
to
it.
you.
Sure,
Like,
yes.
let me know how much
Yeah.
I owe you on the other end.
yeah.
And months goes by. I'm like, "Hey, did you get anywhere?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm still inputting.
Wow.
So like, I take it to a point where I probably should have already, but
That's
I
funny.
want to keep that money and my time and my effort
Yes.
into growing the business, and I'm just kind of picking up the pieces.
Sure.
And
I think
we're
it's
all
just a
not good at
different side of
everything.
your brain. I think an entrepreneur uses the creative side of their brain, and that stuff is not natural for.
And when I have
most
right,
people
when I have to
to
sit
do
down and do
that.
paperwork
Yeah.
and billing, forget it. I
Sure.
am just thinking about 10 other things.
Yeah,
My
can't do it.
mind, I just don't want to do it.
Yeah,
It's-
absolutely.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's not fun.
Yeah.
Fun
Yeah.
part is being out in the community or
Yeah.
working on the business and promotions and graphics and
Going for Lamborghini rides.
Yes. I can't wait. It's on record that this is happening.
I wanted to
if
ask
any
you,
kids want a Lamborghini ride, I'm in. Right? Like
oh, that
Make
could be a
dreams come
great
true.
cause.
Make
The
dreams come
Lamborghini
true.
ride.
All right.
Kevin McMullen.
I'll keep it in the back of my brain.
no lie, I thought about charging parents like $5 to take their kid.
Kevin, you're going to make money off
No,
of this?
no, to donate it to charity.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes me feel better.
Right? Like, take a Lamborghini ride for
I think you're
charity.
going to say like charge kids
Oh,
who would like,
geez.
I was going to say
Let's have a
Kevin the
lemonade
Grinch.
stand. He's literally outside his house charging kids
Yeah.
for Lamborghini
yeah.
rides.
Oh my gosh, how funny.
To donate to charity, okay?
Yeah, Matt's gonna cut that part out. I had a question. Of all the things you've done, are there maybe you've done some big things.
Mm-hmm.
Are there, like the suit thing is so cool.
I know.
And
So sweet.
resource wise, that's probably so small compared to some of the other
Very
things
small,
you've been
but very
so
impactful.
Is there another example or two of some small things that really like tugged at your heart?
Yeah, totally. I think the one that I think of at the holidays is that mother who wanted to, and I always tell these really sad stories, but we kind of come in and we bring the hope, right? We come in and we bring the happiness or the joy when things are really tough. So there was a mother my exact age. She was 29 at the time or 30, had a young boy, little 1-year-old. She was diagnosed with terminal cervical cancer. So something that it was truly her last Christmas. And we got a request for her to have a sleepover party. And her house was not big enough to have a sleepover party with 20 of her best friends and her family. So we simply wrote a story about it. And we said, let's just put it out there, see who responds. I had every hotel owner in Buffalo respond to me.
That's awesome.
And say, how can we, they were fighting over the opportunity to provide a sleepover party for this woman. And it was truly her last, because it's such a simple request. It was not to go out to Florida or go to Disney. It was to have a simple sleepover party where she could be in matching pajamas with her friends and her family, have popcorn, watch movies. So we made that happen. Russell Salvatore, the amazing, incredible person he is, the rock star of Buffalo, he gave us the entire top, maybe it's second floor or top floor of Russell's.
You got a whole floor?
We got the entire floor of Russell's. He blocked it out right after Christmas. So it was like right in between that Christmas and New Year's week. And we had someone donate matching pajamas, which was so sweet. So they all had their own matching pajamas. We had a cookie bar, a candy bar. Russell provided dinner for every single person. They had it delivered to the rooms. They got to watch, Christmas movies. And then we took it a step further. And her favorite thing in the entire world is Christmas music. So we had a flash mob of carolers come.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, and I didn't
standing at the window.
I didn't know what to expect because you put things out there and then you kind of think in the back of your mind, gosh, what if only like 4 people show up? It's going to be really embarrassing, but let's just try and see. So I showed up. I remember I had dinner with my husband and some friends that were in from out of town. I left them. I showed up to Russell's and I was a little late. And I had literally, there were 300 people at the least. The entire parking lot was taken up by carolers. And these were people that didn't even know Ryan. They had no clue who she was, but they saw the need and they thought about what a tragic situation. The least I can do is go and spend an hour of my time and sing Christmas carols for her. So, and she unfortunately passed away about a month later. So it really was a memory that her family has. Her mom and I still keep in touch. We still try to get together. She still sends me a Christmas card. And that happened 3 or 4 years ago. So that is something so simple that we can do as a platform because we have the ability to tell the story and also the followers to then disperse the information. So that was something very special to me that I think about at the holidays that just touched me in a very beautiful way. But we've also done so many other things. I kind of, it's hard for me to even think about everything we've done. We provided, a wig for a girl who wanted to go to prom, but was embarrassed about losing her hair to cancer. So we provided a wig to her, and that was really special for us to then receive these beautiful photos from prom. So it doesn't have to be like a $145,000 check that we just raised for Shine Gold. It's about these little moments that we can do to then give back.
And I think that's sort of a testament, that story of how incredible this community is that we live in, right? Not only the people, but also the business owners around here, because there is no lack of businesses ever willing to step up and contribute, which is just incredible. I mean, we are a community that not only built of great people, but the small businesses that are willing to step up.
Yeah.
And I love to hear that stuff,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
those are the businesses that I want to give my money to.
100%. And I do think that it's not on us that we're the champions of these stories. We just put it out there. We're the conduit of kindness, and these other organizations, these other companies step up. They're the champions here. So it's just amazing to see how, like you said, it's really the community that is the hero here. Yeah. We're just the conduit of kindness.
It's an incredible job,
Yeah.
incredible life that you live, and it's
the
it's
world
super
needs
impressive.
more people like you. That's just it's just amazing to hear.
Thank you so much. Thank you. But I also, like to take my vacations and have fun. So it's not all work and all
should.
that stuff. But no, it's really, it's amazing to see how I've been able to turn this very small passion project into a full-time job. And hopefully it continues for a long time. I would hope.
I mean, I personally want to thank you for the work that you do in this community, and the things that you've done, because like Joe said before, we need more people like
Thank
you
you.
and organizations like you to continue to step up. Anything else, Sid?
Thank you so much for everything.
This really has been incredible,
Thank you,
eye-opening.
guys.
Kate Glaser, Hope Rises.
Thank you.
Anything you want to plug? Any sites or anything?
Yeah, just follow us on Instagram, Hope Rises Network. We're also on Facebook and TikTok, and we're on Channel 4 every Monday. It's a partnership that we've had for about 2 years, thanks to M&T Bank. So they are able to support us on Hope Rises, on News 4, and just always trying to get the story out there. So just very grateful for those who tune in.
And continue to support, for our listeners, continue to support your local businesses, your local charities. Understand where your dollars are going. They're going to stay here in the community.
Yes, very important.
100%. Again, Kate, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
on. That is our latest episode of Let's Know Buffalo.